Once upon a swine. It was the summer of 1859, and tensions between the United States and Britain were already simmering over who owned San Juan Island, a scenic blob of land floating peacefully between Washington Territory and British Columbia. The whole dispute was already confusing, thanks to a treaty that was about as clear as muddy soup. Both sides looked at the island and went, "Mine," like toddlers fighting over a toy. But neither expected what would trigger the showdown, a pig with a potato addiction. Enter one Irish pig living its best free-range life, snuffling around and living dangerously. This pig belonged to Charles Griffin, an employee of the British Hudson's Bay Company and a firm believer in the let pigs roam free and see what happens school of animal management. Unfortunately, his pig had a taste for potatoes, specifically other people's potatoes. That brought us to Lyman Cutler, an American settler and part-time potato farmer, full-time pig hater. This was not the first time Porky had come over uninvited for a snack. But on June 15th, 1859, the pig crossed the line and also the garden fence, digging into Cutler's potato patch like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. And that's when things went ham. Cutler, channeling his inner cowboy, did what any frustrated farmer with a rifle and zero chill might do. He shot the pig. Straight up ended the porker's potato rampage. 1 minute, snuffling spud snatcher. Next minute, bacon. Griffin was furious. His pig was dead, his dinner plans ruined, and his sense of British superiority bruised. Cutler, trying to keep the peace, offered $10 in compensation, which in today's money is somewhere between meh and you've got to be kidding. Griffin, who clearly valued his pig like it was a prize-winning show animal with a college degree, demanded $100. That's basically demanding a small fortune and a handwritten apology from Queen Victoria. Then came the legendary exchange. According to folklore, Cutler barked it was eating my potatoes, to which Griffin reportedly fired back, "Then you should keep your potatoes out of my pig." And there it was, peak 1800s comedy gold. Now, a normal neighborhood might have shrugged this off with some grumbling, a handshake, and maybe a new fence. But this was not a normal neighborhood. This was an international hot zone where both the British and Americans had soldiers, ships, and itchy trigger fingers. The local British magistrate tried to arrest Cutler. In response, the Americans freaked out and demanded military backup. That's when the U.S. Army showed up like, "Did someone say potato emergency?" and sent Captain George Pickett, yes, that Pickett of Civil War fame, along with 66 soldiers to defend the honor of American tubers. The British, never ones to be outdone, responded with not one, not two, but 3 warships, Marines, and a governor who looked at the situation and said, "Why not escalate this into an international crisis?" Suddenly, there were 2,600 troops, 5 warships, 84 cannons, and 1 dead pig in the middle of it all. Imagine being that pig in piggy heaven watching this unfold and thinking, wow, I was really that important, huh? The world held its breath. Muskets were loaded, cannons aimed. Commanders waited for someone, anyone, to fire the first shot. But then a rare miracle in human history happened. Everyone collectively realized this was absolutely ridiculous. The British Admiral, Robert Baines, looked at the situation, looked at the pig, looked at the Americans, and said something like, "Not doing this. I am not starting a war over a breakfast ingredient." The Americans were like, "Yeah, same, let's just not." So the standoff became the most polite military face-off in history. Both sides sat there, fully armed, fully awkward, and entirely unsure how to proceed without looking like total idiots. Eventually, word of the bacon-based brinkmanship reached Washington, D.C. and London. The reaction? Sheer disbelief. Government officials were like, "Wait, you're telling me we almost went to war over a pig?" In came General Winfield Scott, a man so experienced in conflict resolution, he probably could have negotiated peace between cats and dogs. He arrived, looked at the scene, and declared, "Everyone chill. Let's agree to share the island until we figure this out." And so began one of the most charming occupations in history. For 12 years, British and American troops coexisted peacefully on San Juan Island. They celebrated holidays together. They visited each other's camps. They played sports. One group would yell, "Redcoats rule." The other would shout back, "Stars and Spuds forever." And somewhere, probably in spirit, that one heroic pig was watching with pride. The the biggest threat to peace wasn't military action, it was alcohol. With generous rations of rum and whiskey, the soldiers became bras. Tourists even visited the island to witness the non-war. They came expecting gunfire and instead found picnics and polite debates about tea. Finally, in 1872, Kaiser Wilhelm I of Germany, because when you need a neutral party to judge a pig-related crisis, why not call in a German emperor, ruled that the island belonged to the United States. The British packed up, waved politely, and left. No shots were ever fired, no blood was shed. The only casualty was one tragically snack-happy pig. Today, the pig war is remembered as possibly the most ridiculous almost war in human history. Because sometimes the difference between war and peace isn't about power, politics, or territory. Sometimes it's just about potatoes. And that, my friends, is how one potato-loving pig nearly caused an international incident. If you enjoyed this tale of absurd diplomacy and barnyard bravery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and squeal that notification bell so you never miss another wildly weird story from history. Oink you later.